Marriage is not just a union of two people, it's a living, breathing bond that evolves over time. It starts with excitement, laughter, shared dreams, and the joy of discovering each other. But somewhere along the way, life begins to pile on. Schedules fill up. Words become shorter. Disagreements last longer. The little gestures start to fade. You may still share a roof, but not always a rhythm. You pass each other in the hallway like strangers with familiar faces, and a quiet question begins to settle in your chest. Can this be saved? The answer is not always easy. Love doesn't vanish overnight, but neither do wounds heal without attention. It takes more than romance to hold a marriage together. It takes humility. It takes daily effort. It takes rediscovering the art of choosing your partner again and again, especially when it's hard. A strong marriage isn't built on the days when everything is easy. It's built on the days you choose to stay, even when it would be easier to walk away. The truth is, marriage is a mirror. It reflects your insecurities, your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses. It reveals where you are most human, most vulnerable. And sometimes, in the messiness of life, you forget that the person across from you is still learning too. They're not the enemy. They're not perfect. They're a person growing alongside you. You will never meet a perfect partner. But you can become someone who chooses to love even through imperfection. Saving your marriage isn't about pretending nothing is wrong. It's about facing what is broken with compassion, not blame. It's about learning how to communicate again, how to listen not just to respond, but to understand. It's about remembering why you chose each other in the first place and building new reasons to stay now. Even when love feels distant, it's often not dead. It's buried beneath frustration, fatigue, silence, and misunderstanding. It's in the unspoken apologies, in the touch that hasn't been offered, in the eye contact you both avoid but secretly crave. Love doesn't die from a single blow. It dies in the slow erosion of daily neglect. But just as it fades with neglect, it also returns with intention. You don't fall out of love. You forget how to love. And love is something you can learn again. If you're willing to do the work to soften your heart, to look inward before pointing outward, there is hope. Your marriage can find its rhythm again. It can become even stronger, not in spite of the hard times, but because of how you grew through them. This is not a story of perfect love. This is a story of choosing to fight for love, quietly, consistently, courageously. So if you're standing at the edge, wondering if the flame can be rekindled, know this: yes, it can. But not by waiting for the other person to change. It starts with you, with grace, with truth, with action. Here are 5 foundational ways to begin saving your marriage. 1, relearn how to listen, not just hear in every relationship, particularly in marriage. Effective communication is the backbone of understanding and connection. Listening is not just about hearing the words that come out of your spouse's mouth, but about truly engaging with their feelings, emotions, and the deeper meaning behind their words. Listening is an art that requires patience, empathy, and most importantly, presence. Too often in the hustle of daily life, we focus on responding or preparing our rebuttal while our spouse speaks. It's natural to think about how we'll reply. But when we're more concerned with formulating a response, we miss the opportunity to listen with our hearts. Instead of waiting for our turn to speak, we need to focus on creating a space where our spouse feels heard, valued, and understood. Listening deeply means going beyond surface-level communication. It's about paying attention to tone, body language, and even the unspoken words. These nonverbal cues can often reveal what words cannot. Sometimes the most powerful form of listening is simply being there, offering a compassionate silence, allowing your partner to feel safe to express themselves freely without the pressure to fix anything. When you listen, really listen, you are showing your spouse that they matter to you, that their feelings are valid, and their words are important. This kind of listening fosters trust, which is essential for building a strong foundation in your marriage. As you go through life, you'll find that the more you listen with intent, the more you'll understand not just what your partner is saying, but how they're feeling and what they truly need. There is something profound about being heard in a relationship that nurtures love, empathy, and respect. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to strengthen the bond you share. Listening is not just hearing the words. It's hearing the feelings that come with the words. Listening with an open heart can transform your marriage, making it not just a union of two people, but a connection of two souls who truly understand and support each other through the highs and lows of life. In a marriage, when both partners learn to truly listen to each other, they begin to walk through life with more harmony. The road to a successful marriage is paved with mutual respect and the ability to truly hear each other. So, take the time today and every day to listen. 2. Replace reaction with reflection. In the heat of conflict, it's easy to let our emotions drive the moment. Words fly. Our voices rise. And before we know it, we've said something we wish we hadn't. But in marriage, one of the most powerful signs of growth, of maturity, is when we begin to replace reaction with reflection. Reaction is immediate. It's automatic. It's based on emotion, impulse, or ego. When someone says something that hurts us or presses a trigger, our natural tendency is to defend ourselves, retaliate, or shut down. But this reactive cycle often leads to more division than connection. It creates wounds rather than healing them. Reflection, on the other hand, is the deliberate pause before the response. It's the breath you take before speaking. It's the silence where you choose to consider not just what was said, but why it was said. You ask yourself, well, what is my spouse really trying to say? What are they feeling beneath the words? And what is the best way for me to respond, not to defend myself, but to protect this relationship? You begin to realize that not every disagreement is a threat. Not every hard conversation is an attack. Sometimes it's a cry for closeness. Sometimes it's a need to be understood. And in those moments, reacting will only deepen the gap. But reflecting bridges it. In a healthy marriage, reflection becomes a form of love. When you reflect, you communicate. I care enough about this bond to step back, examine myself, and choose my words wisely. That doesn't mean you'll always be calm or perfect. But it does mean you're committed to protecting the heart of your partner, even in conflict. One powerful quote says, "Courage is contagious." When one person stands up calmly in the middle of emotion, others begin to find the strength to do the same. And that strength, built on reflection, can often be the very thing that saves a conversation from turning into a conflict. Think about it. How many arguments in your relationship could have ended differently if just one of you paused to reflect? That pause isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength under control. It's love in action. So the next time you feel yourself tightening, breathing heavily, or clenching your jaw, remember, this is your moment to reflect, not react. This is where love grows. Not in shouting matches or silent treatments, but in the quiet strength of someone who chooses understanding over ego. True intimacy is built not when everything is calm, but when two people can handle the storm, by pausing, listening, and reflecting together. 3. Rekindle the small things that matter. Marriage is not just built on big vacations, grand gestures, or once-a-year anniversaries. It's built slowly, deeply, and quietly on the small things, the good mornings, the soft smiles, the text saying, "I miss you," the gentle touch on the back as you walk by, the way you remember their coffee order or leave the light on when they're coming home late. Over time, in many marriages, those small things begin to fade. Not because people stop loving each other, but because life happens. Stress increases. Routines become mechanical. Kids, jobs, fatigue, and expectations start to take up space where tenderness used to live. You're not trying to grow apart, but you slowly forget to hold hands while watching TV. You stop sitting close at dinner. The jokes and laughter shrink into polite conversations about bills and groceries. And yet, it's those very tiny moments that hold the deepest power to heal and strengthen. The small things remind your partner, I see you. I still choose you. You still matter to me, even now. One thoughtful action can soften weeks of silence. One inside joke can reignite a lost spark. A handwritten note left on the mirror. A spontaneous hug before heading to work. These things say more than the biggest speech ever could. There's a quote that says, "It's not the great things we do once in a while, but the little things we do every day that truly matter to matter." That's where connection lives. Not in the extremes, but in the steady rhythm of quiet care. When you rekindle the small things, you breathe life back into the spaces that feel stale. It's like watering a plant you forgot was wilting. You begin to realize the power of a compliment, the depth of eye contact, the significance of a shared moment doing something simple, like folding laundry together while listening to old music. The truth is, nobody falls out of love all at once. It happens when we stop doing the little things. But here's the good news. Love can also grow back quietly and deeply when we start doing those little things again. Not because we have to, but because we want to. So take a moment today. Write a quick message. Laugh together over something silly. Watch the sunset, even for 5 minutes. Revisit an old favorite restaurant or dance in the kitchen for no reason. These are not cliches. These are the anchors that bring a drifting heart back home. Rekindling the small things is not about perfection. When we slow down enough to show up in those ordinary moments with extraordinary intention, we begin to remember what made us fall in love in the first place. And sometimes that's all a marriage needs. Not a rescue mission, but a return to the simple, beautiful things we once did without even thinking. 4. Rebuild trust through daily actions. Trust in a marriage is not repaired with one apology or one grand act of remorse. It is rebuilt carefully and patiently, like laying bricks one by one after a storm has knocked the whole house down. And here's the truth. The deeper the hurt, the slower the process. But slow doesn't mean impossible. It means intentional. Rebuilding trust starts in the ordinary. It's waking up every day with the mindset. What can I do today to show that I am safe, steady, and here for real? It's not about saying the right thing once. It's about doing the right thing consistently. One quiet quote says it best. A trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. That means each drop counts. Every small, honest action you take. Every time you say you'll call and actually do. Every moment you choose patience over blame, accountability over excuses, transparency over silence. These are the drops that fill the well of trust. Daily actions that rebuild trust look like this. Showing up on time, even if it's just for dinner. Putting the phone down and really making eye contact when your partner speaks. Admitting your slip-ups quickly before they turn into secrecy. Speaking kindly, even when emotions are tense. Following through on the things you promise, especially the small things. The mistake many couples make is assuming trust is just an emotion, but it's not. It's a pattern. It's a rhythm. It's a lived experience. When your partner sees day after day that you are choosing truth over comfort, empathy over ego, effort over convenience, then slowly the wall begins to come down. Rebuilding trust also requires patience, not just from the one who was hurt, but also from the one doing the healing. Because earning trust back means understanding that you don't get to decide when the other person should be over it. You get to decide who you become in the waiting. Sometimes the most healing words are not, "I'm sorry," but rather, "I understand why you feel that way." You don't rebuild trust by trying to erase the past. You rebuild it by creating a new pattern in the present that feels stronger, safer, and more grounded. And remember, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means being honest when you fall short and then choosing to stand back up with humility and dedication. That's where trust is born again. Not in being flawless, but in being faithful, dependable, and real. You don't need to prove your love in grand displays. Prove it in the way you sit beside them even on the hard days. In the way you protect their peace instead of adding to their storm. In the way you become the person who earns their belief again, not through words, but through steady, daily acts of respect and care. Because in marriage, what you do every day matters far more than what you say once in a while. Trust isn't rebuilt through promises. It's rebuilt through presence. 5. Realign with a shared vision for the future. A marriage without a shared vision for the future is like a ship without a compass. No matter how well the crew works together, they'll end up lost. Your individual dreams and aspirations matter, but it is the shared dream you build together that becomes the North Star of your relationship. This vision isn't about having identical goals or following the same exact path, but about being aligned in the most meaningful ways. When you're united in a vision, every challenge becomes easier to face, and every joy more deeply celebrated. As a couple, you must ask yourselves, where do we want to be in the next 5 years? 10 years? What kind of life do we want to build together? There's a powerful thought. A dream without a plan is just a wish. For your marriage, it's not just about wishing for a better future. It's about planning, shaping, and building it together. This shared vision requires you both to not only talk about what you want, but to also listen carefully to each other's hopes and fears. Realigning with a shared vision isn't just a one-time conversation. It's an ongoing process. You need to regularly check in with one another about your dreams and goals, seeing how they align and making adjustments where needed. It's not just about where you'll be, but about who you'll be in the future, together. Here's how it looks in practice. Setting long-term goals together. Whether it's buying a house, having children, or retiring early, having a common purpose provides a strong foundation. Supporting each other's individual growth, a shared vision isn't about stifling your own personal dreams. It's about growing together, encouraging each other's aspirations, and finding ways to support one another along the way. Making decisions as a team when the tough decisions come, and they will. Having a shared vision helps you make choices that honor both of your futures. Visualizing the future regularly. Talk about your future as a couple often. Make time to dream together. Whether it's a vacation, a new project, or an empty nest phase, these shared moments will keep you bonded. Adapting to change together. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes our vision needs to shift. But even when the dream changes, the most important part is staying aligned on how you face those changes together. When both partners are invested in the same vision, challenges seem smaller. Each obstacle becomes something you face as a united front. And when the good times come, you'll enjoy them more because you know you both work together to build the life you're living. A shared vision isn't a fairy tale. It's a deliberate, ongoing choice. It's the determination to sit down, dream big, and then take the steps each day to make it a reality. The more aligned you are with your spouse on where you're headed, the more fulfilling the journey will be, because you're not just traveling separately in the same direction. You're walking hand in hand, heading towards the same horizon. A marriage thrives on growth, not stagnation. You must dream together. Without this shared vision, you risk drifting apart without even realizing it. So, create your vision, talk about it often, and watch your relationship become a powerful force, capable of weathering any storm. Saving a marriage is not about some magical solution or a single grand gesture. It's not about waiting for time to fix what's broken, nor is it about blaming the other person and hoping they'll change. It's about doing the hard, intentional, loving work every single day to create something beautiful out of something fragile. Marriage is, at its core, a daily decision. A decision to choose love when it's hard. A decision to listen when silence feels easier. A decision to stay when leaving might feel tempting. It's about holding hands in the dark when you can't see the light yet. Trusting that together, you can make it through. It's not about finding perfection. It's about learning how to grow in the imperfection. There's a quiet kind of courage in couples who stay, who work, who try again after every misunderstanding. Who don't give up after one bad day or one hard season. Who decide again and again that this love, this partnership, this promise is worth the effort, worth fighting for, worth fighting for. One of the most profound truths ever shared about relationships is this. The best marriages aren't made of perfect people, but of two people who refuse to give up on each other. And that is exactly what saving your marriage is. It's two people who decide that no matter what baggage they carry, no matter what distance has crept in, no matter how much history there is, they are going to find their way back. Process doesn't happen over. It takes patience, forgiveness, humility, and action. You'll need to listen more, truly listen, not just to the words, but to the emotions underneath them. You'll need to choose understanding over defensiveness, presence over distraction, and progress over perfection. Every marriage has its own story, or story. And some chapters are heavy, some are messy, but they are still your story. And if you're willing, you can begin writing the next chapter with deeper empathy, stronger love, and more awareness than ever before. One of the greatest realizations any couple can come to is this. You don't fix a marriage by fixing the other person. You fix a marriage by fixing the space between you. That space is built of daily actions, small acts of kindness, consistent effort, shared laughter, deep conversations, thoughtful apologies, quiet sacrifices, and mutual respect. It's the space where two people meet with love again and again, even when it's hard. And in the end, saving your marriage doesn't mean going back to the way things were. It means going forward hand in hand, building something new, something wiser, stronger, and more connected than before. You may feel exhausted. You may feel unheard. You may feel like the spark is gone. It's gone. But that doesn't mean your love is over. It means it's time to rebuild it, not with the materials of fantasy and perfection, but with the bricks of effort, trust, communication, and compassion. Marriage is one of life's greatest commitments. And when nurtured with intentional care, it can be one of life's deepest sources of joy, security, and peace. So don't just wait for love to return. Be the one who brings it back. Your marriage is not beyond saving. Your love is not too far gone. This chapter is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a stronger one.